Yeah, I definitely have to agree with that now that I think about it. Like, games such as Gears of War and Halo, as you said, like in Gears of War, you know that you fight the enemy. It's not kind of, you run into the enemy and then you gotta shoot them. It's, they pop up in front of you and you kill them, otherwise you and everyone else around you dies, because there's nowhere to run. They're just there, and they keep coming until you close the emergence hole. And also in Halo, I think a big problem with Halo, I don't want to get too off topic here, but the AI, it seemed they used the same exact AI for all the enemies. They just added new armor to make them harder and harder to kill and waste more and more of your precious ammo. I mean, you could kill a brute just as easy as a grunt. It just, they have more armor. They're more impenetrable. They still do the same stupid things. They just...
Yeah, and the enemies themselves, it's not the AI's fault. It can never be the AI's fault. It's the developer's fault, because the developer has made sort of the health and the response of the enemies to be very mediocre. I mean, the game itself is awesome. Your bullets count. You're in a big firefight. You're going to be sliding to cover. There's explosions and grenades. You're doing first aid on yourself. But then you turn to a bad guy, and you're shooting at them for half an hour. They're staring off into Never Never Land, and you are shooting at their head when a one-hit bullet will normally kill a guy. They're not taking any damage until finally they shoot in the wrong direction, but somehow with heat-seeking bullets, they continue to hit you, and then you finally shoot them. They stumble, get back up, and they're good until you finally go up and put that one last Desert Eagle bullet right into their head, and then you got 50 more to go. This is just one of the examples that I face all the time with playing Far Cry. Just, the enemies are not well made. Sure, they look okay. Sure, and how they walk around and react to the environment is okay, but just the response and their hit points and everything else about the enemies is pathetic. Go figure. Okay?
Yeah, I have to agree with you there, but I have another thing to point out. The enemies themselves, they may not be that great, but the collision detection and the very fine point radius and the actual vital points on a person's body really make Far Cry, I mean, in some instances, sure, it makes it a lot less fun to play, but when you're sitting up there with a sniper rifle, even a pistol, and you shoot someone in the head, that bullet counts. If you shoot them in the foot, I mean, sure, certain guns will kill them if you shoot them in the leg, and a pistol maybe not, but no matter which gun you have, I think that you shoot them in the head, they're dead type thing is really a nice thing to have, and the fine point collision detection on their body, instead of like shooting 3 inches off the top of their head and getting some headshot out of nowhere, it's actually fine point, like between the fingers I'm talking here. Every part of their body is scripted down to the very centimeter. I mean, it's really nice to play like that, because it really allows for a lot more possibilities on killing in such instances. And back to the map editor, another thing I'd like to say is that the water level. I didn't really get the water level concept, because if you're going to have, say, a mountain and you want water on the mountain and you don't want water on the ground, that doesn't work with a sliding bar that just moves the entire map's water up, because then you're going to fill everything up to the mountain, and the mountain's not even going to have any water on top of it. I think it should have been more of like a property or a texture that you can fill in rather than raise up. Idris?
Well, yeah, you basically said it all concerning my map editor views and the enemy views. And then so, with a map editor, the map editor is all about posting your map on the internet for people to play. And actually, I think a reason they didn't talk about the water level very much or give it a whole lot of thought is because usually levels with water are going to have pretty low properties, pretty low gameplay. And so, but the internet is strong. It's a strong community. You're going to have fun if you play it. There's a lot of unlockables you can get, but it just, if you want a comparison, it's not going to begin to compare to something, say, Call of Duty 4. And then so, any other big points about the game? I'd say the next big one would be the guns. The guns are a huge part of Far Cry 2. Huge. And they sport weapon degradation, weapon quality, and weapon ammo, weapon customization, any kind of, weaponry you could really think of to appease the situation you want. And you can have a lot of, improvisation with the weaponry. Maybe not on the level as Crisis where you can throw barrels at people, but still, it gives you your fair amount of freedom. And so the levels and their upgrades are an unlockable part of the game. However, the game, once you beat it, sadly does not give you the free play option. So you're only going to get to 99%, have a nice save, and then just keep playing from there, never doing the last mission. So that's just the best way to go. And so the weapons are very respectable in Far Cry 2. They jam, they show amazing, animations, and they feel whole. Many games do not capture the gun just feeling correct, feeling right. Like take possibly my favorite FPS of all time, Resistance Fall of Man. Its guns were amazing. Insomniac did a fantastic job, but the guns just, they didn't feel right. Like, if you couldn't really picture yourself holding that gun in real life. And then so the guns on Far Cry are a huge success. And so that's basically covering all the main points of Far Cry 2. So
I'd like to make one more simple point, if you will. Well, basically, another thing about the map editor was the guns you came with. It was kind of retarded how your character wasn't really a character. It was more of a test, and all it allowed was you to use the stock guns, a flamethrower, an AK, a deagle, and a Molotov. Who would want a Molotov stock? All you can do is burn stuff. I mean, a fragmentation and a Molotov selection would have been nice, but just burning stuff I don't know, the whole stock weapons not being able to change that really kind of ruined it. And, man, I had another thought, but I forgot it, so do you have any other thoughts on this?
No, I think that's about to wrap it up, buddy. So, well, so basically, a lot of people have Far Cry 2, and a lot of people who are going to listen to this podcast will have Far Cry 2.
Oh, then I just remembered. I don't think that deserves the title Far Cry 2, not for its lack of gameplay or its lack of anything. It's just, it's not the Far Cry 1 or the Far Cry Instincts that we all remember playing. There was no Feral Instincts. It wasn't even Jack Carver. I mean, I love it, but its title just doesn't match and can be very deceiving when looking at it. That was my final point, and I guess we have to wrap it up now.
Okay, so many of you people that have Far Cry 2 will listen to this podcast, and many of you will have different views on its construct and our personal views. So you can feel free to comment to this podcast, and if we think your comments are relevant, we'll respond right back to you. So overall, I'd say Far Cry is a very good success at a game with a lot of small niches that detract from the overall feel. If you're thinking about buying Far Cry 2, you can, easily look at gameplay and make the decision for yourself. So overall, I'd say Far Cry 2, out of 10, I'd give it about a flat 9. A flat 9 out of 10. What do you think, Ken?
I agree with you there. Maybe if there's a number between 9 or 9.5, it might be somewhere closest to that, but I wouldn't say it's quite a 9.5, more of a 9 out of 10. Good call, Idris.
Yeah, so basically, thanks for listening to this Wiikspeak of Far Cry 2, and be sure to catch the next episode. Have a good one.